Hey everyone, my name is Perry, and welcome back to the Cassette Phase. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to record for this weekend's video, I had a lot of little ideas, but nothing super specific was jumping out at me. Nothing like a book fair topic or a retrospective on bikes in the 80s. None of those types of ideas were coming to me. All I know is that it was a really long week, and I need some good quality time here in the den. And I've got a few little random odds and ends that I want to attend to in here. So I figured, why not have you all join me for that? But I also don't want to bore you, so maybe we could play a couple of video games or fire up the old console TV and watch a show or something. This will be a little bit of a new video format for me, so I'm not sure how it's going to go. But as we approach 100 videos on the channel here, I have to make my peace with the fact that not every video is going to have a clearly defined topic or subject, and that's okay. And we'll do the cassette of the day as always, but after that, who knows? It really will just be hanging out on a Friday night or over the weekend with me here in the den. So my little intro catchphrase is especially appropriate this time around. And if that sounds like fun to you, come hang out. Okay everyone, welcome back to the Ottoman, where before we get started on our Friday night weekend hangout here in the den, we're going to do the cassette of the day. And today's is a video cassette, VHS tape, from a cartoon series, a short-lived cartoon series, but one that I really liked, based on a toy that I really loved. And if you've been around the channel a little while now, you know that I'm a big fan of My Pet Monster. Now, I think this only ran 12, 13 episodes, and really basic, nothing too exciting or anything like that, but just really colorful and simple and fun. The voices were cool. I always liked that theme song. Wow, look at that High Tops Video logo. That's a blast from the past right there. And yeah, like I said, based on a toy line. A toy line that they're bringing back. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they're re-releasing some My Pet Monster stuff. Now, it doesn't look like the original, unfortunately. I think it's a little smaller. It just doesn't quite look the same, but they are doing like some keychain, like little figures that I'm kind of excited about, because I just love the aesthetics, that logo. I'll be checking those out for sure. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out that's re-release. The one I'm probably most excited for, honestly, is Popples, because from what I saw, they look really, really close to the originals. And the originals aren't cheap usually. They're usually kind of hard to find and a little bit expensive if they're in good shape. So I'm going to be looking out for the re-released Popples. Probably not so much the My Pet Monster, unfortunately. But yeah, fun little cartoon based on a toy that I just loved. I still have my original My Pet Monster from childhood over in the VHS closet. And I also have an animation cell from this cartoon. And, I guess instead of telling you about it, I could just show you that. Hang on just a second. Why tell you when I can show you, right? So there's the old guy right there. And then the animation cell is up there. Very cool, love it. Let's head back over to the Ottoman and finish up the cassette of the day, and then we'll get started with the rest of the video. But yeah, this one, I remember watching it on Saturday mornings, of course, but I think what sticks out the most was the preview that I saw for it. Do you remember when they used to do those? And I talked about this a long time ago in a Saturday morning cartoon video. They used to do like these little promo specials, usually like on one of the weeknights, like Friday night or something, before a new cartoon lineup rolled out. And I can remember seeing the commercial for this one and being super excited because, again, I had the toy, but I didn't know that there was a cartoon coming out. So lots of good memories with this one. Happy to include it on today's cassette of the day. All right, guys, welcome. Got some Brady Bunch going on the TV. The first thing that I wanted to do today, last time I was in Walmart getting a couple things, they had these little DC Comics figures on clearance, $2. And Batgirl has always been one of my favorite characters from the comics. Kind of a long story, but I always thought she was a really cool character. You know, in my career, I've done a lot of work with people with disabilities, and she is a superhero that for the longest time was in a wheelchair. So I have a little case where I keep these little G.I. Joe sized figures. I like to grab these when I can because they're fun to fidget with while I'm working. You know, I'll be sitting here just going about my day, and I like to fidget with these types of things. So I have a little case where I keep all the little, what is that, 3 3/4? Is that the size, the scale on these or whatever? So I'm gonna dig the case out, which I keep over here. It's actually on the bottom of the cart here. So let me put you down for a minute and grab that out, and I'll show it to you. Okay, I've grabbed it. And I thought it might be kind of fun for old time's sake if we did this on the rug. If you were here at the very beginning stages of the channel, I used to do all my videos down here until I figured out that if I did it on the ottoman, it was more comfortable, especially for long periods of time. But this is going to be quick, so I figured why not. So yeah, I've got this little case. Not a ton of these, but you know, you've got Rogue from the X-Men, a Transformer, Vision, Wolverine, a Foot Soldier, which is really cool. Firestar, love that character. You know, they just cast Sadie Sink from, you know, who plays Max on Stranger Things. They just cast her in an upcoming Spider-Man movie. And with her red hair, I'm really hoping that she's playing Firestar. I think that would be cool. We got Magneto, Baroness. I like this Spider-Man because it looks so old, even though it's not. But again, like I said, I just like to fidget with these. Now, Batgirl has a home in the case with some of the others. So, mark that off my to-do list, I guess. She is now filed away. I'm going to put this back. I'll be right back with you. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to do, I noticed that when I was looking at the Sega earlier, trying to figure out what game I wanted to play, it's gotten a little dusty. I'm sure most of you all can relate. If you collect things, books, figures, whatever the case may be, stuff gets a little dusty. So, and I promise this video won't be all, you know, me doing chores, because I really will bore you to tears with that. But I am going to dust, and I figure I'll take you around the room, and as I'm doing that, kind of talk about a couple things. You know, why not? Now this TV over here, the smart TV, it's been getting used mostly for sports lately. You know, they've been, Major League Baseball just started, and there's been March Madness going on with the NCAA tournament. So it's been getting used for that. But I also like to turn it on for things like Tubi and YouTube, of course. But it doesn't get used as much as that CRT. And I'm definitely going to turn on the console TV today because I've been using it so sparingly. It hasn't been getting a whole lot of love lately. I mean, I've used it, I think, once in the past couple of weeks. So we're going to fire that up today and at least watch a little bit of a show, maybe like the intro and the credits or something before you know how YouTube is with the copyrights. I know what I wanted to do while I was right here by my desk. I told you guys I was going to show you my desktop wallpapers. And don't worry, I'm not working, so there's no work stuff on these screens right now. But what you will be able to see I've got these wallpapers that rotate. I think they change like every minute. That's really bright. Hold on just a second. Let me see if maybe if I close the window, if that makes it easier to see. It's a little better. But yeah, I was gonna show you, see, it just switched to G.I. Joe. That's an old G.I. Joe sticker sheet. So I figured I could pull these up and just kind of run you through like really quick. Feel free to fast forward if it's boring. Here, can I make this full screen? There we go. Yeah, so I've just got, that's from one of my favorite Smurfs books when I was a kid. Same with that one. And you know, some people are like, why would you spend time setting up all these wallpapers? And it's not like I did it all at once. You know, over the years, as I see images that I like, I just add them to a folder. And that's actually the banner on the channel homepage for Cassette Phase. You know that image. Some of these I made myself, some of them are just stuff that I pulled, but there's just so, I'm gonna try to move quickly because there are a lot. That's a beach towel that I had as a kid. You know, if you get busy at work and it gets stressful, as it tends to do for all of us, little things like this, I don't know, and that's the childhood home right there. I've got a couple different pictures of it. I don't know about you guys, but if something pops up that makes me smile or laugh in the middle of a stressful day, then this is all worth it to me to have these things in here. A lot of Studio Ghibli, some shirt tails. That is the grandparents' house. Love that Mega Man. I actually have a version of that I use as my phone wallpapers. Do the same thing on my cell phone. They rotate just like this. I have a lot of these same ones, you know, formatted for that. And if you find images online that you would love that you want to use for a wallpaper, and you don't want to stretch the image out, you know, because it's going to look really bad, it's not going to be the right resolution and all that, you can always just mirror them, like go into Paint and just paste the picture again and mirror it, and then you've got a full wallpaper. I feel like I'm losing viewers as we go here, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny to show you. Pull back the curtain a little bit and see some of the stuff that rotates on my screen throughout a workday. And they don't go in this order, of course. They're randomized. So Windows, I guess, will just, you can tell it how often you want it to change and which folder to use, and it pulls them. Man, how nostalgic are those Kool-Aid packets. Love it. Got some of the great old Masters of the Universe box art. A couple images of that. And what's cool about it is you get, you know, and I'm moving things around, email, various windows all throughout the day, but you get a different image on this screen if you set the settings just right. So you can get a different one on both screens. Oh, we were just talking about him. That looks more like the toy than what they gave us in the cartoon. The cartoon didn't look really all that much like the toy. Okay, so that was just on this screen, and it moved over. Now we've got Earthbound over here. Yeah, I'm not going to do all of them. I just wanted to show you guys a few. There are probably, I don't know, 500 images in here. How cool is the arcade cabinet artwork from Centipede? That's just so epic. I don't know how well this is going to come over on video, but anyway, you get the point. So I'm going to continue dusting this really quick. I also noticed it really bad. I pulled this cassette for the cassette of the day last week, and look at that. How embarrassing. Also, let me get the window back open so we get some better light. It's a little dark when I have the blinds closed. It's kind of rainy here today. It's been overcast like all day. Next time I get a really rainy day, I'm going to do my top 10 rainy day videos. You know, like, or I'm sorry, movies. Rainy day movies. So like, you know, stuff that's like comfortable and I guess quote unquote cozy for a rainy day. Curl up on the couch, watch a movie. There are certain films that just have that vibe for me, and I'll talk about it. Yeah, the stereo was really dusty. I promise I'm not a slob. And I'm going to go ahead and run it over quickly. I'm going to run it over the shelves and this TV setup, and then on around to the other one. But don't want to bore you guys, so let me do that really quick, and I'll be right back with you with something hopefully a little bit more entertaining. All right, so why don't we play just a couple of video games really quick? Not for a really long time or anything, just for a couple minutes. And I was looking through the Genesis games as I was dusting them, and Jason Knupp had just been talking about Castle of Illusion with Mickey Mouse, and I have not played that one yet, so I figured that might be a good one to try. Let me look. Got some others, of course, but yeah, let's go ahead and go with Castle of Illusion. Give that a try. Everyone that's ever talked about that game says it's fun, so yeah, I'm gonna turn off the Brady Bunch, get the Genesis fired up, find a place to stick the phone camera, and we'll play for a couple minutes, so I'll be right back. Okay, I think we were all set up. I think I have a good angle. I know that sometimes the CRT doesn't come through well on camera, so I apologize, but at least get the idea, right? Once Upon a Mouse, huh? Vera City. Everyone lives in peace, except one. Is that Miserable? I already like the animation. Music's cool. I'm just such a big fan of 16-bit games. I mean, I love the Nintendo, but I'm just realizing more and more how much I love Genesis and Super Nintendo. I mean, I was 11 years old when I first got a Super Nintendo, so that makes sense. All right, let's give this a try. Difficulty. Okay, we'll just go with normal. Hurry before Miserable uses her powers of illusion to make herself look like Minnie, and make Minnie look evil like her. Okay. The 7 Gems of the Rainbow. Okay. Pretty straightforward on the story so far, but I like it. So did I have a choice? I don't know. Do I have to go to this door first? Okay, let's see. We got jump, duck, kind of a floaty feel to the controls. So I wonder, can you jump on enemies? Like Mario, I always think about, thanks to Mario, I always think that in every game you can jump on top of the enemy to kill them. Okay, these are good, I assume. Let's go ahead and test really quick. Nope. Okay. You can kind of, looks like you can kind of ground pound a little bit. Kind of like on DuckTales. Let me try that next time I get one. Oh, okay, that worked. All right. That's the benefit of pressing all the buttons before you get too far. Oh, come on. He thought he was slick. Oh, I thought I grabbed it. No? Oh, there we go. Kind of like a little Donkey Kong Country there, but not nearly as smooth. I'm not doing so great. So I don't really get anything, it looks like, for jumping on these enemies. Oh, I will say I like the scenery though. The background is really cool. Oh wait, I threw something. I couldn't do that before. Oh, okay, so picking up the apples gives you something to throw? Is that it? It's not just like coins? Oh yeah, look, my little items are going up. Okay, got it. Yep, okay, now we're talking. Oops. The controls, while they're a little slow motion feeling, they're pretty responsive. No complaints there. Music's good too. I just wasted 3 on that. Oops. Did I beat the first level? Oh no. So the one jumped and the other one didn't. Trying to be tricky on us here. Oh, that reminds me of like, kind of like a Sonic animation. That would make sense. Oh, fun. Oh, that's cool. It's very much like Donkey Kong Country. Can I get those ears down there? Oh. Oh, I'm just doing horribly, guys. I like coming in here and, let me try one more time. I didn't make it very far. I like coming in here and playing and turning the camera on once in a while. I know that the video game videos are not the most popular thing. Some people probably don't like just sitting around watching someone else play a video game. I get that. But it is such a big part of the den. Every once in a while, I like to, bring you guys along for the video game. Oh, okay. I'm so terrible. You know what though? It's kind of refreshing because when I play games on Switch or even on like the SNES Classic, I like to rewind if I mess up. And you don't learn the lesson that the level teaches you when you do that. When we were kids, we had to learn our lesson from it, and then the next time around, do better. Now, granted, as an adult, I don't have nearly as much time to play a video game as I did as a kid. So I enjoy the rewind feature when I have it available, but this is kind of refreshing, like I said. I'm going to give up on that, trying to get those ears. Let's just see if I can get through to the end. And if not, we'll give up on this for now. I still haven't quite figured out what makes him grab the rope and what makes him just jump straight through it. Is it where you hit it? I'd be interested to see what level Jason has made it to. So it looks like you have to grab it like right on the end. Oh, that's the one. Okay. Got lucky there. I didn't mean to let go. Okay, we're just gonna... All right, I got it. I'm just gonna move on. Whoa. Exit. All right. I'm gonna grab my coffee. Is it gonna give me a cutscene? Oh no, it's not. Pause. Pause while I grab my coffee. On a in a Dungeons and Dragons mug today. One of my favorites. Now this looks cool. Oh, all right. Well, that tricked me. Oh. Well, we're off to a good start with the variation in the level design. Is there something below me so I can get that star? Do I risk it? Or do I go for the big jump? Yeah, let's not risk it. I've talked about this before, but I would rather play something like this all day long than the modern stuff that's out now with the beautifully rendered, hyper realistic graphics. You know, when you're trying to make something look real, it jumps out at you when it doesn't. That's why I'd rather just hang out in a cartoon world for a while, you know? These like ghost mushrooms? Okay, so I guess I have to go up. The sky got all dark and ominous on me. Can I go down? Okay, looks like I can go down. The jumping mechanic does remind me a little bit of DuckTales. Oh, come on. You were in the ground. Alright, so these guys are supposed to be like a... How do I get up there? Oh, you can kind of spring off of them a little bit. That's cool. Not quite enough, though. Unless I'm just not good at it, which is probably the case. Yeah, I mean, we've been playing for just a few minutes and we've gotten 3 completely different looking level designs with different music, different enemies, different power-ups. I'm a fan. I think this is going to be another game on the Genesis that I stick with for a little while. Wait, should I already be done? I feel like I didn't do enough. The exit's right there, though. feel like I'm missing some stuff. Well, we'll at least get a star out of the deal. How about that? All right. Oh, do we have a boss battle? Oh, this will be okay. This will be a good place to stop if we can get through this boss battle. Any kid from the 80s and the 90s can tell you, boss battles are about memorizing patterns. Figure out the boss's pattern and where you're supposed to hit him. Isn't that usually what it is? And you can, oh, I'm out of items now. Now what do I do? Do I have to jump on him? Without getting hit by an acorn? Okay. You can only do it once each time. Did I get him? Sweet. Oh, cool. Success. All right, I already got a gem. I got the red gem. You have much more to do to save many. Well, hey, I'm 1/7 of the way through. I like that, those cartoony letters. Yes, it's moving on its own. So it just takes you to the next level. Okay. Well, I'm going to at least pause it here and, oh, this looks interesting. I might play for a few more minutes, but I'm at least going to give you guys a break, and I'll bring you back in when I'm ready for the next, when I'm ready to move on to something else. So thanks again for hanging out. All right, that was a really fun game. Before we move on from video games, you know, for the rest of the video, we'll do other stuff, but you may have noticed this when I was dusting, but I recently got one of these little, I kept getting ads for these little preloaded handhelds, you know, with all the retro games in them, you know, and this basically is meant to be like a Game Boy, I think, but with you know, games on it already. And it doesn't have everything. It's missing a lot of the Mario and stuff like that. But I recently got this. I say recent. I've actually had it for a little while, but I just recently started using it. This is from Anbernick, and as you can see, it looks like an old Game Boy. And I know, Dante, if you're watching, I probably didn't get the right one. I probably didn't get the best one, but this was not expensive. And for what I paid, it's been a lot of fun so far. I think this was, you know, $50, something like that. Let's just do a quick little tour through. So, actually, so you've got all these different systems on here. With some games already loaded, like I said. And so what I did is I went through and I kind of favorited a lot of the games that I wanted to play, and then it, you know, stores them in here by system. So let's see, let's find like a, I can't think of what I want to play right now, but I want to show you guys just a couple examples, you know. And it has to be a game that I know really well because I can't see it very well through the phone. I'm doing the best I can to look past it. So we're in Genesis right now. Let me scroll down to like Nintendo. And I've heard that these things are prone to like failure and they don't last the longest, but I'm going to try to take care of it. And, you know, I'm probably going to have to do some work on the computer to get everything in here the way I want it, and maybe some other games. But I'll tell you what this is going to be great for. When I don't have time to come in the den, you know, and leave the family and the rest of the house by themselves, like if I'm just sitting on the couch hanging out with the family or getting ready to go to bed or whatever, I can just use this. And this is probably what I'm going to use for like when I want to play an old school RPG. Just something that I can pick up and play, you know, sitting wherever I'm at. Now let's just do Mega Man 2. Let me see if I can get some volume here. Now, one thing that I always have to do, and I'm still learning the settings, I like the I like to turn that overlay off, and then I like to make it full screen because it is small, right? I mean, I'm trying to remember how to get to it. I think it's here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, a few clicks and you've got Mega Man. I mean, how cool is that? And you can do all kinds of things, like if you want it to look more pixelated, or if you want to make it look like it's on a CRT, there's all kinds of filters and things that I still have to figure out how to do. But for just getting on and playing for a few minutes, this emulator is pretty cool. I've enjoyed it a lot so far. And I probably won't do this very often. But if I wanted to, I could connect this to the smart TV and play all these games, you know, on the big screen. I haven't really tried that yet, but and it's supposedly, I think you probably saw, it does like Dreamcast and like I think even like PS1. I'm not going to use this for those types of games. I'm going to use this to play Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and probably like some Game Boy Advance. There's a lot of Game Boy Advance games on here that I'm excited to try that I've never had. Oh, this part always stresses me out. Oh, I don't know why I always do quick man to start. It's so stressful. Oh, it's so stressful. See what I mean. But anyway, I don't want the video to get too heavy into video games. But I just wanted to show you guys this little thing because it's, you know, kind of a recent addition to the collection, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So, okay, so I'm going to take you guys back into the VHS closet for a few minutes because there's a couple things I want to do in here today. So I found, I've been doing a lot of work in the garage, which I'm going to do a whole separate video and probably a series of videos hanging out in the garage because it's a really fun place and we're coming into a good time of year as far as weather. But I found these tennis balls that I had gotten at an estate sale. I don't even remember how long ago. And these are Drug Fair, $2.89. And these are from 1985. And I found that in the fine print, and there's also a little coupon in here. But this was sealed. And I have lots of sports equipment in this little, this is a vintage McGregor gym bag. And so I need to put these in there. But before I do, I wanted to show these to you because it was cool. You know, when you pop the lid off, anyone who knows about tennis balls, it had like a metal, like an aluminum pop top, almost like a soda can that I had to open, and the balls inside are like pressurized, you know, they're sealed up, and I was like, oh wow. So I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna get 1985 air. Is that weird? And I was kind of laughing about it, but it was true. As soon as I popped this thing open, like the smell that I got was 1985. Like these smell like bike tires. So I talked about in my bike video how I used to go to the local bike shops and look at all the cool bikes, and the smell just reminded me of those so much. Just immediate time travel. as is usually the case with smells and scents that you that wash over you from a different time. So I wanted to show that to you before I put them away. Tell you what, let me get the bag out. Got some catalogs there. We'll go back to the rug. We'll make it another trip to the rug today. Okay. And I'm a sucker for vintage sports equipment or vintage sports anything. Matter of fact, a couple other recent additions to the den here, because like I said, I've been doing some stuff in the garage. Some things that were in here are now out in the garage. Some things that were in the garage are now in here. I've got a couple of these little, remember when you would go to a baseball game and they'd serve you ice cream in one of these little miniature helmets? I like grabbing these anytime I see them. And these are two of my favorite teams. The first World Series that I ever watched in 1987 was the St. Louis Cardinals against the Minnesota Twins, and it's just, they've been two of my favorite teams ever since. You guys know I also like the Chicago Cubs because I used to watch them on WGN all the time growing up. So I have like a full-size batting helmet from the Cubs, which I've put up there and love it. So yeah, anytime I can find vintage sports stuff, I'm all about it. Let me put you down for just a second so I can unzip all this, and then I'll be right back. All right, we've got it open. And can I just say while I have it out, I love the colors on this bag, this purple and this teal, just very, early 90s. And I can't remember, I need to be better about remembering where I find things, but this actually has the tag in it still. McGregor Sport. Came from a Kmart. Let's see if I can get that to focus. For 1997. And it won't focus very well, but yeah, 1994. So that makes sense with the colors. And I usually keep sports stuff in this, but I also, I plan on using it for I've got some travel coming up, which, for some of my work travels, I might start doing some videos like from the hotel or out and about, just to kind of share it with you guys. But got a football in here, some other tennis balls, which are not vintage, but still cool. I know I talked about fidgeting with little action figures, but I also like to bounce a tennis ball. I will literally walk around my office bouncing a tennis ball, thinking about what I want to do on a certain, work task. So I've got my baseball glove in here. Excited to, once the weather gets better, go out with my son and throw the ball around. This is just in here randomly. This is a Big League Chew, a pack of Big League Chew. You can still find it in the pouch too, the way that we remember it. But yeah, so I'm going to add the vintage tennis balls in with the non-vintage ones and the football. And then I'm going to zip this back up and take it back to the closet. And there's one other thing that I want to talk to you guys about when it comes to some sports stuff. So be right back. All right, the gym bag is back in its place. I brought the basketball in from the garage because I'm going to start shooting some hoops on a lunch break every once in a while I have nice weather. Here in Texas, we have really, really nice, comfortable weather from about March through middle of May. So it's not a very long window, and then it's too hot to get outside and do a whole lot. So I have to take full advantage while I can. So maybe we'll do a video from the basketball court. That might be kind of fun. But what I wanted to tell you about involves this package here. So let me go back out to the rug. If not the next, one of the next big, like full-on retrospective videos that I want to do. is going to be about baseball and what baseball meant to, us in the 80s and the 90s. And the idea for this came from 80s Movie Den. I'm sure a lot of you already know about 80s Movie Den, but if you're not familiar with that channel, highly recommended that you check it out. He obviously talks about 80s movies a lot. Great collection of physical media, a really cool laid-back vibe in his room there that he's got, and but he's a big sports fan, and he was showing off some of his baseball cards recently, and he was talking about there's an eBay seller that does fairly inexpensive vintage, wax packs of baseball cards. And so when I do my baseball video here in the next couple weeks, then I'm gonna have to have a good weather day, because I'm gonna actually go out to a baseball diamond and hit a few with you guys. I think if I can find some time, and like I said, nice sunshiny weather. But I'm gonna open these up on that video. So we've got a pack of Fleer from 1990, and this particular eBay seller, he just sends you random ones. You can't really pick and choose, but in fact, all of the ones that I got are good vintage. And here's another from 1990, Upper Deck, which I always liked. The ones that I got, I recognized immediately as cards that I actually, bought as a kid. Here we have Score. The year's not on there, but I think that's 87. Here we've got Donruss, or Don Russ, however you want to pronounce it. Really nostalgic for that one, because I had a lot of those. I think I had a full set of those as a kid. Yeah, you pay him I don't know, $12-15, and he sends you, just a random assortment of cards. Here's more from Donruss, different year. There's Fleer again. Just how nostalgic is the look of that? Honestly. The only brand I did not get that I was hoping, I don't think I got anything from Topps. This is the last one. Yeah, Score again. So that was the only thing. I was satisfied otherwise, and if I do it again, maybe I'll get Topps, and I could probably message the guy and say, hey, I bought some packs from you last time. I'm happy with them, but is there any chance you could throw in a Topps pack from this next go around? But yeah, I don't want to go into it in too much detail, because like I said, we're going to do a full baseball video where you'll see some of this stuff again. We're actually going to open those packs up and see what we got. And then, yeah, like I said, we might actually go out. There's a really cool old baseball diamond nearby, it's really retro looking. The grass is kind of overgrown. The fencing is kind of old. The paths are really worn. Just, it gives you Sandlot vibes a little bit. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that here in the next couple weeks, weather permitting. So let me put all this back, and then we will move on to the next part of the video. So I think what I want to do next is find something to watch on the RCA color track. And obviously I can't keep you guys with me for a whole episode or anything like that, but we can kind of get the idea. I want to get a nice comfortable spot there, put my feet up for 23 minutes or whatever it is to get through one episode of a sitcom or something with this glorious beast of a TV. So let's figure out what we want to watch. We got a TV guide we could flip through, but no. Most of my favorite TV sets are out on display here. Let me move the Razorbacks mug. Big Arkansas fan. They lost in overtime last night to Texas Tech in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. They had a really good year though. Let's see. Wonder Years is always good. I've already watched quite a bit of Brady Bunch today. Punky Brewster. Dallas is a little longer. Who's the Boss? Golden Girls, Perfect Strangers. Alf is always fun. I think I already did Growing Pains with you guys when I first put the the TV in the room. Let's see. Decisions. Now, why don't we do some Who's the Boss? You guys cool with that? You know, it's my understanding that they only ever did one season of this on DVD. Not cool. Got to get us the rest. I know you can stream it. I think it's on, if you've got Disney Plus or Hulu, you can watch it, but you can't watch it right there. I'm sure that people that are smarter than I am when it comes to electronics could figure out a way to let me play my streaming services there. Colin from Canada probably knows. Or I could reach out to Vintage Video Basement. But I've got so many DVDs and VHS tapes, I'll probably never need to do it, honestly. So yeah, let's go with some Who's the Boss here. I don't know if I can open it with one hand, so yeah, let me put you guys down for just a second, and we'll get it going. All right, so it's actually a pretty nostalgic little set. I really do wish that they would come back with the other seasons. Just such a great show. Okay, so this is my little hack. Hear me out on this. So, as you guys know, I work from home. I've constantly got DVDs playing as I'm working. If I get a lunch break long enough, I'll sit down and watch a show. But I'm constantly putting DVDs in and out, and it's hard for me to remember where I left off with certain shows. So what I'll do is when I put the discs back, I will flip over the next one. So in other words, last time I had this set out, I watched disc 1, and so this is my way of telling myself, next time you open this up, grab disc 2. And I do that. Like, if I were to take you through all the cartoons and all the different DVDs I have in my collection, and you open the cases up, there's always going to be one flipped over to the reverse side, just so I can remember where I left off. So we're going to go with disc 2 today. All right, we are ready. I do want to, got the candle going. It's still a little bit bright in here for my taste, so I'm going to close up the blinds, maybe even the curtains, depending on how dark we want it to be. You know, those shoes came out again this year, and they were almost impossible to get. They sold out immediately. I was so bummed. The Nike Air Tech Challenge 2. And they're supposedly coming out with another color. They did the hot pink ones, which was like a little bit different version of those, which they're okay, but I really wanted that original Andre Agassi color. But such is life. First world problems that I didn't get those shoes, but I'm gonna keep a lookout for the there's like some turquoise and orange ones coming out that I'm gonna watch for. All right, so I'm going to well, here, let's turn off. We don't want TV overload, do we? Too much TV. Wasn't that a Berenstein's Bear book? Berenstain Bears book? Yeah, it was. The Berenstain Bears and Too Much TV. I should probably read that again. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get comfortable here and turn on an episode. So I will put you down for just a minute and then be right back. Okay, are you guys ready for a little dose of nostalgia? Isn't that one of the best sitcom theme songs ever? It's got to be, right? It's definitely up there. And I probably can't play the whole thing straight through with YouTube, but we can at least get a little glimpse of it. Yeah, this show, was it right before Growing Pains or right after Growing Pains? Why am I blanking on that right now? I know they were back to back, and was that the greatest like back to back sitcom combo of the 80s? That would be an interesting video topic. Pairs of sitcoms that aired in back to back time slots and which were the best, like maybe like a top 5 or something. I don't know. There were some pretty great ones in the 90s too with the TGIF lineups and all of that, but for the 80s, this is definitely one of them, the candidates for sure. And this guy just talked to Tony about how he recognized him from playing Major League Baseball for the Cardinals, which is probably another reason why I loved this show so much as a kid. I was all about the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's who Tony played for, which is really cool. I'm also noticing as I'm watching through this is still one of the best 80s sitcom houses, which is another thing that I could talk about for probably half an hour, is all the different homes of the sitcoms that we watched. The way that the living rooms and the kitchens were laid out, and the stone wall in this particular show around the fireplace, and just the warm, comfortable vibes that I'm obviously a big fan of. In here, you guys have seen the tour of the den. It's heavily influenced by some of these types of shows and movies and things, but this is one of my favorite houses. I think it's just got a great feel to it. Okay, so I just watched a really cool bar scene. Like, they all went to a sports bar to catch a game. And I should have paused it in there because the 80s scenery in that sports bar was really cool. What a cool set. But I was just thinking about Mona as a character and how funny she was. Like, you forget, for, what was this, 1985, 86, something like that, when this first season came out. Was Mona considered a little, like, very risque? Did she, have to be on in prime time for her to act this way? Or was some of the stuff that she was saying and some of the things she was alluding to, did those just go over our heads as kids? And our parents were like, sitting in the recliner chuckling at some of the things she said. But looking back at it now, Mona was a pretty funny character. Yeah, this was great. I enjoyed that episode. I enjoy every episode that I ever watch of Who's the Boss for the most part. I'm going to see if I can get by with some end credits here. We just had our last little gag, and then the audience laughs, and then they roll the credits, which, as you remember from back then, the credits kind of took you through a little synopsis, summary of the episode you just watched. It goes back and flashes through some of the scenes that you watched, and I love that. I don't know why. It's just like a nice little reminder of the half hour you just spent with these characters. I think that's a really cool thing that's kind of a lost art form. And I've talked about this too, how the end credits in the 80s and the 90s were usually just the music I'm talking about, an instrumental version of the opening credits. There's no singing this time. They're just kind of playing the tune with a different instrument playing the melody. Another lost art form. I know I say that a lot, but that's just another one that I really like and really miss. I was hoping, oh, there it is, yep. Yeah, I was hoping, I know I talked over it a little bit. But I was hoping we'd get a little network tag on the end of that, because that's also super nostalgic, so. Okay, so there's just a couple more things I want to do today, tonight, whenever you're watching. One of the things I was thinking about was I was in the closet the other day trying to dig out the baseball version of one of my Ninja Turtle figures to show my son, because, you know, baseball season had just started, like I mentioned, and I wanted to show him that they did, you know, sports versions of some of those vintage turtles as I pace around right now, thinking about how I want to get this stuff out and show it to you guys. So I have this bin in here. It's just full of old, fun, retro and vintage toy goodness. So I got to thinking about that when I was digging that baseball figure out to show him earlier. So why not show you guys as we're doing our hangout tonight? And just because when I was digging through it, it brought back just all kinds of great feelings of nostalgia, and that's kind of what we're going for. It's kind of what I'm trying to share. So let me grab that out and take it over the rug, and we can just look through it really quickly. Now, these are some of the toys and things that used to be up on the shelves before I did kind of the room reset. I still have a lot of like PVC figures in that basket there. And then some of my favorites that I like to see a lot are kind of mixed in the VHS closet. But as you saw, there are just tons more in here. So let's kind of dig through for just a second. It's like nostalgia overload, right? There's a vintage Splinter holding on to a Fraggle Rock Happy Meal toy. I used to have this this Doug Funny hanging from the ceiling fan. Quail Man, remember him? I've been putting on a lot of Flintstones DVDs lately while I'm working and stuff. That's a nice, like, relaxing, calming show to have going. You know, it's a cartoon that has a laugh track like a sitcom, you know? And I was just thinking, I wish I had some Jetsons DVDs, because I liked that show a lot too. I may have to try to track some of those down. I've shown you guys a lot of this stuff before, but I mean, come on. This came to me from a good friend of the channel, Joe. It's one of my favorites. The weight on that is just amazing. It's just solid die cast. That might be my favorite California Raisin. I love the one on the skateboard as well. That one's actually up on the shelf still, but that's just a classic, like Hardee's California Raisin right there. Some Flintstones kids. You know, several months back I did a whole video on PVC figures. And somebody came to the comments section recently on that video and said, I think they were, I'll have to go back and look at it, but I think they were at a toy show or something. And talking to a vendor maybe, and said, hey, you should check out this Cassette Phase video. He talks all about PVC figures. And that's how he came to the video. I thought that was so cool. More California Raisins. That's a Christmas one. I'll have to remember to get that out at Christmas time when I do the den up for Christmas. So Mantenna was one of my earliest toys. One of my first He-Man figures. I guess he's from the Horde and She-Ra, right? He works for Hordak. And you can see he's got these really cool eyes that bug out. Remember that? Well, when they did the Funko Pop version, it just had blank white eyes, which that's kind of the gimmick for Funkos, right? But I took it upon myself, and this is maybe I was bored, I don't know, but I got a little Sharpie out and I did my own eyes on it. I think it brought it to life, personally. I don't know. Like I said, maybe I was bored. Remember when you used to get things like this in your Easter basket? they were giving these out. We were in Canton, Texas, where they do one of the biggest flea markets, I think, in the country. They do it once a month. I think it's called First Monday or Third Monday Trade Days. I can't remember which weekend it happens on. I think it's First Monday Trade Days. Well, every time we go up there, there's a place called Dairy Palace. It's a restaurant right there next to it. Next time I go out there, I'm going to try to get some footage, because that is a restaurant that is stuck in time. I love it. It looks exactly the same now as I'm sure it did in the 80s and the 90s, and that's where we got that. We were there with the kids, and they were giving these out. We were there for, I think, Easter weekend one time. Love these Kool-Aid figures. I think that one actually came from Joe. I already had the tennis one and the basketball one, and I always love anytime they give us a version on a skateboard, and that happened a lot. You know, if you're going to give us a figure of whatever character, whatever advertising mascot it's going to be, give us a version on a skateboard, and that'll probably be my favorite. Here's Wile Kit, or is that Wile Cat? I can't remember. Just all kinds of fun stuff in here. Love these old Nintendo figures too. Always cool to find those. But yeah, I don't know. I figured since we were hanging out in here tonight, here's another Nintendo related. We could take a look in this big old bin of fun. So just wanted to show you that really quick. We'll move on now though. Well, the last thing I wanted to do with you guys was talk a little bit about what I'm reading, because that's something that's always top of mind when I'm in here. I'm surrounded by all these books. Let's see. I have that much left on the last book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. And after I finish that, the book that skyrocketed to the top of my to-be-read list, thanks to friends of the channel, is this one here. Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. And this is kind of a beat up copy, but that's okay, because I'm going to be sitting outside reading it. I'm going to be maybe reading it at the pool this summer, depending on how long it takes me. I have a feeling it might not take me that long, because I've heard that this is a page turner, and this is something that people that know me and my interests at this point from the channel have recommended this so highly, saying that I'm going to love it, and I'm really looking forward to it. And that's why it's kind of skyrocketed up to the top of my list. My original plan was to finish Hero of Ages and then start on the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, which I have the first 3 books of right there. But before I dive into these things, because these are all about 1,000 pages each, I'm going to read Boy's Life, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Other things that I'm reading, and this is why it takes me so long to get through a book, is because I'm also reading things like a Mega Man manga, which has been really fun. I have a playlist on Spotify that I will listen to like quietly in my ears for certain types of things that I'm reading. I think I've talked about it a little bit before, but I've got a playlist that's called Starship Road Trip, and it's just all like instrumental, either like sci-fi film score type stuff, or like synthwave that sounds kind of sci-fi. It's all kind of relaxing, but it goes really well with that Mega Man book. And then I've got a similar playlist for like fantasy type stuff. If I'm reading fantasy manga or fantasy comics or fantasy novels, I've got like, piano music in a playlist. I've got like some orchestral stuff. I've even got like some ambient relaxation type music that has like birds chirping and stuff in it. So I like to do that. I don't always do that. Sometimes I just want to sit down and read and not have to worry about, grabbing my headphones and finding a playlist. But when I am sitting down and like actually dedicating an hour or something to read, I like to use those playlists. It makes it kind of cinematic feeling, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just something that I do. I'm also reading comics. I kind of wanted to grab out some of the most recent ones that I've picked up to show you guys, because there's some really cool ones in there. So let me move some of these Sega games, and I'm going to grab out just like the last like 10 or 12 comics that I've picked up that I'm excited to read and show those to you guys really quick. And the reason I want to show these to you guys is because some of them are based on nostalgic properties that we like from the 80s. Like this one, for example, we've got Silverhawks, and this just started. I haven't read it yet, but Dynamite has been killing it with their nostalgic cartoon comic book adaptations. So far, they've all had really good stories. The art's always awesome. I'm excited to dive into to Silverhawks. They've also got like a Captain Planet coming out, and a couple others that I'm going to show you. I went ahead and grabbed Rogue in the Savage Land #1 because I always liked Rogue's, any X-Men story that takes place in the Savage Land, especially when it's Rogue. Definitely had to pick that up. The Herculoids. Now, I already read issue 1, and I'll have to dig it out and show you at some point because the cover on it was amazing. The cover art was so cool. And this one's not bad either for #2. But I loved the Herculoids as a kid, and so far, that first issue was definitely cool. Story was good, art was great. Always happy to see those characters again. Here we've got issue 1 of Thundercats Lost. I'm excited about this one because it focuses on some of the side characters like Bengali and Pumaira. I think that's how you say her name. And yeah, just some of the side characters that we loved from the cartoon. I think I already showed you guys this. I picked this up last time I went to Retropalooza or Retro Expo. I can't remember which, but I've got Starriors, and this is the whole 4-issue miniseries. Just cool 80s like sci-fi, you know, right up my alley with the aesthetic there. So that's in the cart to be read soon, along with Rogue in the Savage Land #2. I got a reprint of an Alan Moore Swamp Thing issue. I've told you guys before, if they put these reprints out on the rack with the original ads in them like they have here, I'm usually going to grab it and give it a read. And that's got a really cool foil cover. The Chitara comics. I think I already read issue 1. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. I've got issue 2 here with really cool artwork on the cover. One of my favorite Thundercats characters there. I know I've shown you that one before, I just haven't read it yet. That's a reprint of a classic Spider-Man issue. I think a friend of the channel sent me this one, and so it's towards the front of the stack to be read. I like to read these like on the weekends at the breakfast table. I think it's a really cool place to read some of these older comic books. Just an old Uncanny X-Men with that old version of Rogue on the cover. I think she was a villain at that point, right? Dynamite's doing DuckTales. I read issue 1. It was great. It was like reading. It was like being back in the cartoon. It really was, with the adventure and the art. I could hear the music playing in my head the whole time that I read it. And so I've got issue 2. Chitara. I'm missing some of these. Either that or I haven't put them in the stack. You know, I've got them all filed in the file cabinet there. And I try to pull them out and put them in the cart to be read. And then once I read them, I put them back. But kind of out of order on some of these. This is a cool old issue of Wonder Woman that I've been wanting to read since Halloween. I just haven't gotten to it. Same thing with some of these like New Mutants. This Turtles and Usagi crossover one-shot from the Saturday Morning Adventures. Have I read that yet? I have not. I remember because I'll write the date on the back of the board here for when I've read an issue. It's also helpful to when you go back and look at something to see when you read it, you know, and think about what you were doing at the time. More issues from Chitara, #5. And that's it for the comics, the physical comics. Really quick, I'm going to show you what I've got going for the digital stuff as well. And yes, even with all these physical copies of things, I do still like to read digitally, especially at night, right before I'm going to sleep. It comes in handy, you know, and
I've already looked. I'm pretty sure that Boy's Life is on my library app, so I'll be able to read the physical copy and then shift to the digital copy at night, and so on and so forth. But I use this Hoopla app for comics mostly. If you don't have this, it's usually free through your, if your local library has it, you can get the app for free with your library card, and it is just a treasure chest. If you're into comics, they have books too, ebooks, audiobooks. But my most recent checkouts, and you are limited on how many you can check out per month, but I've been reading this Transformers series right here. And I actually thought about reviewing it because it's been so good so far. Like, it just, let me see if I can get it to pull up. I haven't read it this month, so I got to download it again, but it'll pick up where you left off. See, it says resume. But it just really captures the feeling of the cartoon, the original, the first generation cartoon. And I mean, just look at that artwork. This is another one that I listen to my my Starship road trip playlist whenever I'm reading this. And if you don't have an iPad, you can do this from your phone too. It'll let you like go panel by panel if you wanted to. And of course you can zoom in and zoom back out. But really been enjoying that one. Let's see what else. I like Supergirl from the 80s. And this collection's from 82 to 84. I don't think I had gotten very far into this one. But again, it'll let you pick up where you left off. And this is right up my alley. That Transformers one was modern, but based on, obviously, a vintage property. And these are actually vintage books, you know, from that era. And I just, that art style is nostalgic for me because these are the types of comics that I read as a kid, you know. Sometimes you find a dusty old box of comics from a friend, and you know, these were some of the stories. And back then, it didn't matter if you hadn't read an issue, and I'm still kind of like that to this day because comics are really good about filling you in on what you missed. So you don't have to, obviously the story is going to make a little bit more sense if you've read them all in sequential order, but you don't have to. You really don't. They do a good job of filling you in. And especially when you can read these things digitally for free, you're not having to go worry about tracking down every issue that you missed. This is one thing about, it's one of the very few things about modern technology and modern society that I really, really enjoy. And She-Hulk is another one that was from the 80s that I used to read back then as a kid. That has just great art. And I'm happy that I can read it digitally now because it's not always easy to find the actual single issues or collections. Now these were zany, wacky issues. These John Byrne She-Hulks from the 80s. Sensational She-Hulk. But really cool. And that artwork is just fantastic. I only have a little bit left on that one, I think. I think I'm almost through that whole collection. And then I was really excited because I'm a big fan of ElfQuest, which was a fantasy comic series from the 80s. It started in the 80s. And I have a collection that I had been reading. Right there. And I think I made it most of the way through that. But it's been a couple years. And that one's all done in grayscale, black and white. And the art is beautiful on it. Wendy, I think her last name is Peony. She does great like fantasy comic art. It's one of my favorites. Well, they just recently did this collection of the full color versions. And I was gonna buy this hardcover. I was planning on getting it and picking it up here in the next few weeks, but it already hit the library app, so I'm at least gonna preview it, some of it here. And I am going to start back over at the beginning because, like I said, it has been a couple years, and I'd only read it in the black and white. So I'm excited to see what it looks like in color, because the art, like I said, is just fantastic. if you're into, you know, big, long, sprawling fantasy epics, you know, that are easy to pop in and out of, I think this is a really accessible one with, again, great art. And it's probably not doing it justice, you know, me filming a screen through a screen, but you can kind of get the idea. Just charming. You know, if you're a fan of things like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and all those types of epic fantasy type stories, but you know, with a little bit more like childlike whimsy and innocence on this one in particular, check out ElfQuest. It is from the 80s, so it fits in on this channel. But yeah, just one of my favorite things to read. So I think that's going to be it, guys. I think I showed you everything that I wanted to show you and talked to you about everything I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know how long this video will be because I've broken it up into so many little segments. I won't know until I go edit it how long it ends up being, but I had a lot of fun. You know, I know there was no, you know, really like rhyme or reason to this. I really just wanted to like come hang out in the den and kind of just film what I was doing for the weekend, you know, and bring you guys along. You know, it could be a giant flop. You know, we could lose viewers like 10 minutes in. This whole YouTube thing has been a learning experience for me. So, but like I mentioned in the intro, we're getting close to our 100th video, almost a year in. And I think one of the things that I want to do, in fact, I'm planning on it, is I don't know if it'll be the exact 100th video, but it'll be around there, or it might coincide with the first full year, which is coming up at the beginning of May. I'm going to go back and do a highlight reel, a highlight and low light reel, because watching some of the first videos is a little bit embarrassing, because you know you're not comfortable talking in front of the camera. In fact, I'm actually still not that comfortable talking in front of the camera, but it's gotten a little bit better. But I'm going to go back and pull some funny stuff, some highlights, some of the things that you know initiated the most comments, some of the things that people seemed to enjoy the most, and you know, put some music to it and put together a little highlight reel from the first year of the cassette phase. Because looking back at it, we've done a lot. This room looks different. You know, the walls are a different color. There's different things here. There's things that are no longer here. So it's been quite a journey, and I've enjoyed it, and I kind of want to capture that and figure out a way to put that together, like I said, in a little highlight. But again, I'm finding myself pacing around the den here talking to you guys, so I think that's a good sign to that it's time to go ahead and wrap it for this time.
And there we are. So I really appreciate you all sticking around while I tried something a little bit different today. And let me know if you enjoyed this and would like to see more of this type of thing going forward. And if you like the more standard, you know, formal retrospective format a little bit better, that's okay, because those aren't going anywhere either. We're all about relaxing nostalgia around here any way that we can get it. So if you're with me on that, consider subscribing. But for now, and as always, relax, enjoy life, and be kind. We'll see you in the next one.